Good evening, hockey fans. I'm Sean Nolan along with David Zammit, Amateur Sports
Coach
TV.
started the series with a 4-1 loss in Game 1
of this second round series in the Saskatchewan 18 and under female AAA league. The Regina Rebels leading the Swift Current Innovation Credit Union Wildcats 1-0 after a 4-1 win in Game 1, David. And it's the old cliche, you're never in trouble until you lose a game on home ice. Wildcats have not lost on home ice in these playoffs so far, and they want to make sure they hold out in this building again. Only 4 losses in this building all year, so it's an opportunity against a team they've beaten a couple of times this year to get right back in the series.
It's actually kind of a flip of the script in that Swift Current won the first 3 games against Regina this season, 2 of them being in overtime, and now Regina's run a 3 streak the other way, 2 to end the regular season, and then 1 here to start the playoffs. So I guess maybe today it isn't really the rubber match in the playoff series, but it's the rubber match in the season series between the two. And Swift Current will be looking to halt that streak that Regina's been on at 3 and always turn the tide back the other way. Obviously, a big factor will be shutting down that top line of Regina that's been lethal all throughout the regular season and then carrying into the postseason as well.
We had a chance to chat with the head coach of the Swift Current Wildcats about their Game 1 loss and their approach to today's Game 2. Here's Terry Pavley.
Coach started the series with a 4-1 loss in Game 1 in Regina. What's your take on how that game went?
I don't think it was a 4-1 hockey game. The shots were pretty even. They outshot us 34-30, and I thought, they just seemed to score on their opportunities. I thought we were pretty good defensively overall. But, you give kids like Petford and Henderson's, grade A opportunities, in the hash marks, they're going to find the back of the net, and they did last night. And we didn't. When we had those opportunities in the slot, we missed the net or their goalie made a good save. So, if we can just, we've got to get more pucks on the net and more pucks, on the lower part of the net. I think we really preached about trying to get some rebounds, some traffic, and we felt last night we probably had more shot opportunities, but we didn't hit the net, and we got to stick with it for 60 minutes. We were really good for the first 15. Then they kind of got the momentum, and we've talked on here before about timing of goals, and we let a goal in the first period with 3 minutes left, in the second period with 2:52 left, and then 1 to start the third. Like those goals at the beginning, the first 5 minutes, last 5 minutes of periods are kind of momentum killers. So, just make sure we're a little bit tighter for the full 60 minutes of a game. But, it wasn't a bad game, and I don't think it was really a 4-1 hockey game.
You mentioned, not a lot of high-quality scoring chances, but the ones they got were very good. So if overall you're happy with how you're defending, how do you take that next step and try to eliminate, when they do get chances, them being at that high level of chance?
One thing, we got to protect the middle of the ice. They like to walk off the wall, like they, and that's what goal scorers do. So we talked today about making sure that, our wingers do a better job in our zone of helping our D, keep them to the outside, and you can't give up odd man rushes. Like, this is a team, especially on their top line. Like, you got to be aware of what's going on. We got to have a high player, and you can't give them, the 2-on-1s and 3-on-2s, because they're, that top line has the potential to bury you, and they did last night. Again, like, Henderson's goal was a walk off the wall, and we didn't do a great job of protecting the middle, and then Petford scored a goal on a 2-on-1, and so just being aware when those kids are on the ice and making sure that we don't give them, unnecessary chances. And the reality of hockey is good players find opportunities, and you need your goaltender to make saves, and our goaltending was fine last night. But you also need, in a playoff game, to win games, you need that save where the crowd gives that, you know what I mean? Like, you need a couple of those to win playoff games, and. And so, that's what their goalie made, probably a couple more than ours last night. And that really was the difference in the game.
You have control of the matchups here today. I'm not sure how much of a factor that was yesterday. So what's your approach to that today?
I think they kind of want the same matchups we do, but, we're more worried about our defensive matchups. So we're going to make a little change in our pairings to just defend what we think maybe a little bit better against their top kids. And, when you're at home, you can do that. On the road, we feel like we got to have different different D pairings, because we got to maybe roll a little bit more. But, we're just a little bit more aware of, you can see who's going out on face-offs. And because we get the last change, we can get a few better matchups. And that's what happens when you have good coaches. I mean, when we're on the road and they might try to get offensive zone face-off their top line against one of our third or fourth line, and here we're going to have the opportunity to get the last change and get the matchups we want. But there's a fine line between disrupting the flow of the game and matching, and again, we like the way we're built, and we've won a lot of tight games. Every time it seems like we've had a stumbling block, we found a way to come back, and we still think we're going to make a long run here. And to make a long run, you need to have depth, and I think that's they might have a little bit more high end than us, but we think we got more depth. So we don't want to take away our strength by getting too caught up in all the matchups on every shift.
Well, they always say in the playoffs, you're never in trouble till you lose at home, right?
Yeah, that was, the wise people must say that, because we said that after the game last night too. And, we've been really good. I think we've only lost 4 games at home all year, and, you've got 40-some games, approximately half of those at home. So, this has been a very good barn for us to play in. And, I expect that we'll come out with lots of energy. And the big thing for us, if we forecheck and cycle pucks, we give teams fit. And I thought in the third period last night, we really did that. And then the shots were 14 or 16-6 for us. So I think, if we can carry that over the way we finished the game last night, we'll give ourselves a chance. And all we preach to our kids is let's give ourselves a chance in the last 5 minutes. And if we do, we like our odds.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
We're live at the Fairview West Arena in Swift Current. Sean Mullen and David Zammit with you for Game 2 between the Wildcats and the Rebels. Second and third place in the regular season standings. A very closely contested season series. And a 1-0 lead in this best of 5 for Regina. David, Wildcats make a change in goal for the game today. It's Carly Lanner getting the start. 1-1 in the playoffs so far, with a 1.52 goals against average, 9.36 save percentage. And she'll be going up against Peyton Schlamp, who's 3-0 with a 1 goals against average and 9.55 save percentage.
Laner led the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League in wins this season with 13. So if Swift Current's looking for a win and potentially the most critical game of the year, she might be the one you want in net.
Something to watch, David, is also that the Wildcats have made a switch in their D pair. It'll be Buffard and Perlinger together, as well as Rubley and Hansen.
You'd have to imagine Buffard and Perlinger will be out there a ton today. I mean, essentially on the depth chart, that is 2 of their best defensemen. So.
And then Jones will be paired up with Botnish. So it's a different look today as they come to center ice. And we're off. Game 2 is underway as the puck is fired into Regina territory. took until late in each of the first two periods yesterday in game one for Regina to hit the score sheet. Those goals were big at key times in a very evenly played game. As the puck is battled in behind the net, grabbed by the captain for Regina, Gerard. And an immediate penalty coming here. It's against the Rebels. McNinch moves it left wing side, deflected ahead by Bouffard, and now touched up. And the Wildcats, who had some good looks on their power play but couldn't convert in game one, will go to the man advantage here to start game two.
It'll be Jada Johns headed off. I don't know if that was a cross check or just holding by the end of it, but that was just a tie up behind the net between her and Metzger, and you could hear the ref telling her to let her go, and then ended up pushing Metzger to the ice, and she'll go off for two or less here, and this is a big chance for the Wildcats just 41 seconds into this contest here.
Well, it's all about momentum, especially when you're talking early in games. And if you can get a goal at the start or end of a period, it makes a massive difference. So we'll see if the Wildcats can open the scoring here. They get a draw win. Here's McNinch. Tried to get it to the net. That got blocked. And a quick clear for the Rebels length of the ice. Chased down there by Perlinger, a second All-Star team defender. Now fed ahead by the captain, Metzger. Skated into the zone by Watain, their leading scorer. Keller behind the net. For Watain. Keller again. The Gull Lake product spins with it. Moved it to Watain. Tried to cut back out front. Moves it to the line. Metzger tried to go back to her. Pass missed. Came to Keller in the corner. To Metzger. Shoots it, and that hit Watain in front as she tried to redirect it and got smacked the length of the ice with 1:07 to go in the Wildcat power play. Right back up they come. Keller drops. Watain. Backhand. Hits off the post. Kind of a floater off the outside of the post. Rebels chance to clear and took a funny hop off these Fairview West Arena boards. Held in at the line by Perlinger, but only for a moment as that one is cleared the length of the ice by Gerard. 40 seconds left in the power play. Thompson moves it ahead for Swan. Second unit out now for the Wildcats. They'll stop at the line on a good stick check. Backhanded in deep. Chasing it is Schmidt. She'll work that up the wall. Rubley couldn't hold it. Now Rubley backhands that back ahead. Here's Georgette for Thompson. Thompson rips it across. Swan couldn't settle it. Tried to backhand that back out front. Schmidt blocked her. Side of the goal, trying to smack that in there was Georgette. And it'll be cleared the length of the ice by the Rebels. That'll do it for the power play as Lehner's out of her net, and it's a penalty coming to Swift. Head contact against Thompson. So they fail to convert on their power play, and right back the other way it goes.
I think that was behind the net, but I honestly didn't see the infraction that was called, Sean. It's a 4-minute, too, so.
Double minor, huge opportunity now for Regina. How quick momentum can shift. Here's a shot blockered away by Lehner. Good save made on Nimigears. And her pass at the line skipped away from Johns. Nimigears skates it into Wildcat territory. Move that to the corner. Perlinger's on it. Two players on her. She'll try to go up the middle. Can't. Johns shoots. Stick save made by Lehner. At the line, Nimigears feeds that over. Shot attempt made by Hayhurst is blocked. Smacked by Bacchus up the wall. And McNinch is able to clear just the center. 3:15 to go in the double minor. You don't want to give one up at all, but if you're going to, you certainly want it to be after the first penalty expires as the Wildcats get it clear and Nimigears has to chase it back down.
Good start to the power play for the Rebels. They've had a few looks with a bit of traffic in front too, but Lehner's been strong when called upon so far for the Wildcats.
Wingert got a piece of that puck in the neutral zone. Back in comes Regina. Right wing side, Girard, who leads the team in playoff scoring with 11 points. Centered. Bacchus is there. And Bacchus will get the clear and head off to the bench for a change. 2:34 to go on the double minor. So almost to that ever important 2-minute mark in this penalty kill.
Swift Current's been really good in the neutral zone, pressuring the Rebels here.
Behind the D here. Good long pass. Peckford shooting one. That one's off the side of the net. Petford's got it again. Centers it. And that'll be cleared by Metzger. And that should do it to get to the 2-minute mark in the first half of the double minor.
Yeah, watch for the Rebels maybe to try that stretch pass to Petford again here as Petford's in behind Bouffard.
Left wing pass. Into the zone comes Hayhurst. Drops it back. Middle of the point, a shot. Blocker save made by Lehner on Girard. And away goes with Payne chasing it down. Won't get there first. Gobbled up by Johns with 1:35 to go in the double minor to Thompson. Pass to the Swift Current line, just deflected in. Bouffard sends it up to the point. Niemegeers holds. She'll move it for Flynn. Shot gobbled up by Lehner, and she'll hang on. 1:19 to go in the double minor to Thompson. 14:37 left in a scoreless first period.
Lehner's been square to everything she's seen so far today, and all 4 of the shots that she saved to start this game have come on this man advantage that Regina's had here. So, but they've all been from the outside, nothing really square on right in front of her. So the Wildcats have done a good job to keep it to the outside.
Puck worked down to the corner. Centered. Right top of the slot. Scored. Niemegeers at the top of the slot after some excellent puck work for Regina. It is Brooklyn Niemegeers opening the scoring off the bar and down, and she was wide open for that one.
Yeah, she walked in from the point after receiving it, and she got to the top of the circle before letting a hard wrist shot go that beat Lehner's glove hand to put the Rebels up 1-0. Like you said, at least Swift Current got to that important mark, so that now they aren't shorthanded after giving up the one on the penalty kill. But Swift Current's going to have to be careful discipline-wise because they don't want to give that Regina man advantage too many looks today.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. It's tougher to kill the double minor in general because your penalty killers are out there longer, and it's harder on them. So you only allow the one on the double minor. It's a minor victory, but they'd looked so strong on the penalty kill up to that point. And then just some really nice puck work by the Rebels. They forced Swift to focus on the slot, and that opened things right up for Niemegeers.
Yeah, and Swift had done a good job of protecting that home plate area where you don't want to give up those chances, especially on the power play. And then Niemegeers was able to kind of walk into that area pretty quickly as the puck got back to her at the middle of the point. Hard wrist shot, though, too. You could hear it hit the bar from up here. And
the big change. Swift gets the good start, an early power play, and can't strike and give up one right after.
Yeah, and like you said,
turnaround.
Momentum, right? And that's certainly a game of momentum. But I guess if you're Swift, you had your chance early, but you got to look to get the momentum.
Appel was battling hard along the wall, and that caused a body contact penalty. I think it is Gottslig who took it. That's just good hard work by Appel. Keeping her feet moving. Gottslig didn't want Appel to get by her, and here's a chance for the Wildcats to answer.
And that's because she put pressure on her at the line, ended up backing her off, and then puck battle just in front of the Regina bench led to the Wildcats on their second power play of the game already.
1-0 lead for Regina. Swift wants an answer. Keller gets it down to McNinch. She's pressured off the puck. Good defensive play there. Metzger can't hold it in. Pressure was coming. Sent to the corner by Watane. Here's Keller. Slides it down to McNinch, who's got the lone Swift Current goal of this series. She tried to drive out front. Got kept to the outside. Perlinger will pinch in. Right corner. Perlinger awaits some help. McNinch digs the puck free. She'll skate. Moves it to the line. And a shot attempt there by Metzger. And that's an offside call against Perlinger as Metzger tried to zip it back into the zone, and Perlinger touched it up. 1:08 to go in the second Wildcats power play. 1-0, Regina leading.
Swift Current wasn't able to create anything there with their first look on their second power play, and everything was to the outside. They were struggling a little bit even with their passing, so if your passing isn't crisp, you aren't able to really expose that man advantage because you're spending most of the time chasing the puck.
Well, there's an example of it. Is Bouffard's pass was a little off the mark. Now here's Rubley. Right wing pass, and that one's off the mark. Actually hits the linesman. Banked ahead. Thompson smacks it, can't get it deep, and that's cleared. And good penalty kill here by Regina. Gerard will chase it down behind the net. She's bodied there by Bouffard, and Rubley will try to fish it out. Great work by Gerard. Finally, Rubley does, but ends up throwing it to the wall, and the Wildcats can't get to it. Good aggressive penalty kill here, Hayhurst. 20 seconds left in the Wildcats power play. Up for Swan now. Swan for Thompson, hit her skate. Swan gets it back. Backhands it in. Thompson's going to chase. And they're trying to change here in the midst of this, so they're going to run out of time on this power play. Held in at the line by Rubley, now cleared by her, and that'll do it. Swift 0 for 2 on the power play. And that one did not build them any momentum, as they couldn't get started at all. Hedford throws it to the Swift Current line, intercepted by Bouffard. Fed ahead and dumped in by Urich. And trying to get the four lines rolling has been difficult in the early going with 4 penalties already.
Yeah, the whole game's basically been special teams.
Here comes Regina down the right wing side. Quick slap shot, stopped. Rebound, centered. That doesn't quite get over to Grice. Now Grice again taps it wide. Onto the stick of Henderson. Throws it back to the line. And a good shot block by Urich on the attempt from Carpin. Shot across the front of the goal there by Molly Flynn. Regina changing on the fly. Swift has their 4th line on the ice here. Turning and shooting is Hill. That'll deflect high. Battle for the puck on the wall. Henderson trying to keep it protected. Regina wants the puck to move here. Swift would take the whistle. Kerwin trying to clear. Now she'll whack that out. Urich will chase. Swift gets Price to the bench and Kerwin. Puck knocked into Wildcat territory. Hansen tries to clear. Urich knocks it to center. Dump back in. There's Perlinger. And she'll skate. She's got a lane and dumps that puck wide of the Regina net. We've got 9:25 to go in the first. 1-0 Regina leading here in Game 2. Game 3 will be Thursday in Regina. Game 4 next Sunday here, if necessary, of course. Georgette shooting. That'll be swallowed up on a glove save by Peyton Schlamp. Only the second shot she's faced this period. 9:07 to go in the first. 1-0 Regina leading.
Swift Current's certainly going to want to test her a little bit more. Although sometimes goalies not seeing action early in the game can come back to bite you if you're Regina. So, and a beautiful save by Schlamp there off the draw. Bouffard let a point shot go that was tipped in front by Swan. And it was a nice reaction save by Schlamp to just get a glove on it. Definitely her biggest save of the game here so far. As she was going one way, reached back with the glove the other way.
Puck dumped into the corner. Trying to fight for that one is Swan. McNinch had it roll away from her. Gerard's on that. Up the wall. Wildcats keep it alive. Here's Gerard again. Clears that one. Perlinger steps up, dumps it in. That'll be chased by McNinch behind the net. Whacked to the corner by Johns. Move back to the line for Bouffard. He's trying to fight to hold it in at the right point and could not. Dump back in though. Cleared out again. Bouffard will go across to Perlinger. Up ahead for Metzger as Regina was changing. Shot wide of the net. Rebound, Swan took a swipe at it. Deflected high by a Regina stick. Rubley, slap shot, deflected across the crease by McNinch. What an attempt there. Back again they come. Metzger down the right wing. Slapper, stick save. And caught by Slamp off her stick. 7:48 to go in the first. 1-0 Regina leading, and Swift with their best two shifts of the game.
Yeah, not only was that two really good shifts, the first shift was against the Regina's top 5 players. Their top D pairing was out there, and their top forward unit was out there, and they were hemmed in the whole time.
Thompson chasing after it behind the net. Keller intercepts a pass back to Rubley. Shooting, that's blocked in front. Kicked at a couple times and cleared. And the turnover here by Swift. It's a 2-on-1 for Regina. Henderson rips it wide. You don't want Henderson on a 2-on-1, but she missed the target. Rubley trying to clear, gave it away behind the net. Now a chance for Keller. To the point, a shot. Blocked by Hansen. As Flynn got that towards the net. Here's Watain. She'll make a move at the line. Oh, and Keller was a step ahead of her. 6:58 to go in the first. Regina leading 1-0 in game 2.
Really good pushback here the last couple of minutes by Swift Current, but obviously you didn't want to see the 2-on-1 coming back the other way where Henderson just kept it and shot it, but he'll take the result as it missed wide on Lehner's blocker side, keeping Swift Current out of a 2-0 deficit here.
Bacchus dumps that one in. Swift chasing. At the line, Jones fighting for it, and that one skipped away from her. They got to get back now. In comes Gerard. Well, there's two players as the players whistle dead. With the pronunciation Gerard, with different spellings. Number 5, Maya Gerard, Girard, and the captain, Ali Gerard, Gerrard. So I'll now attempt to say the first names each time.
Might be best. I remember Ali from last year, as I have a photo of her being absolutely robbed by Amaya Giroje at the iPlex on a big-time glove save on a pass across.
Here's a chance side of the goal. 2 backhand whacks at it for Grice. And Lehner's able to cover it up as the Wildcats just lost Ashley Grice. She cut in a couple looks. And Grice has got 7 points in the playoffs so far, including 2 goals. So we'll have to keep an eye on her a little better. 6:18 to go in this first period. It remains 1-0. Regina leading this game. Rebels win the draw. Puck worked down to the corner. McNinch dug it out, but lost it in her teammate's feet. Now work to the line. Shot redirected by Grice high. Metzger to the line. That one's held in again. Whacked at by Metzger. Still can't clear. McNinch works it to Perlinger. Good patience there. Perlinger for Swan. Swan banks it ahead for Metzger. That's deflected into Rebel territory. And a penalty coming to Regina for interference.
They're lucky they didn't get a hook down here on McNinch. There was 2 of them closing on McNinch, but they got one either way.
Well, Wildcats who struggled on their second power play go to power play number 3 of this first period.
Looks like they're
Carpin's in the box.
Going to start with their second unit.
Here's a shot by Rubley. Well, and that's the other line was on the ice there, stuck in their own end. So here's Rubley again. Never afraid to shoot. Oh, and it was hit by a high stick, so the play's whistled dead. Rubley does have that shooter's mentality.
She has a hard shot too, right? So when it's on net, it certainly can create problems for a goaltender. She keeps it low off the pad. And
here's Swan. Play to the line. There's Bouffard. Slap shot. Rebound. Wraparound try. Score! Samantha Thompson ties the game at 1. And a huge play for Thompson, kind of making up for the penalty that led to the Regina goal as she tapped that one in.
Excellent shift by that first, or I guess would be the second unit, but the first one out there on the penalty and converted as the Wildcats break into the zone and have another chance there with McNinch.
Erlinger tried a one-timer, fanned on it. McNinch drives the net and she's dropped to the ice. And that puck's dumped back in. I want to go back to the goal. Give Bouffard credit on that, as she looked like she was going to tee up a big slap shot, and then seeing what along the way, took a little off of it. And that allowed Swift to keep control of the puck and create a wraparound chance with the goaltender slamp off balance. And that led to the open net for Thompson's goal. Just a subtle little thing from Bouffard there that made a big difference as the puck is cleared out to the neutral zone.
Even the pass she received from Rubley at the point was kind of a tough one for Bouffard, given that they were so close together, and Bouffard was trying to back up while receiving the pass. And then she had the wherewithal, like you said, to realize she had time. Didn't have to let the big slapper go, but looked for the tip on her shot instead.
Bouncing puck.
And then it was like Schlamp couldn't get to the other side of the net in time.
Yeah.
She did get there, but then she wasn't able to recover for the other rebound that came off.
Here's Perlinger. Left wing pass to Watane. Back for Perlinger. A little out of her reach. And another penalty coming as she got held up, trying to get a hold of that give and go pass. And now Regina is going to start to have to look at themselves discipline-wise, as this is the 4th Wildcats power play of this period, David, in a 1-1 game with 3:08 to go in the first.
The refs certainly haven't been afraid to blow the whistle in this first period that, like you said, has been basically a special teams contest.
I like it, though. I've never been a fan of playoff officiating. The rules are the rules are the rules. In my mind.
It's a penalty in the regular season, so why is it not a penalty in the postseason?
I mean, you build your team based on the rules. The rules shouldn't suddenly change when the games matter the most.
Exactly.
Here's Keller. Works it to the wall for McNinch.
They're really quick to pressure McNinch.
Now a wraparound by Watane, and she was wide open. Good save made by Schlamp.
Yeah, if you watch when the puck goes to the wall for McNinch, Regina sends at least one, if not a second, almost in behind. They're really weary of McNinch walking off that half wall, like we've seen several times this year, and she's really able to create create great chances when she gets to the slot area for herself and for her teammates.
Nice pass by Bouffard off that draw win. Worked it down low. They couldn't get it back up front. Here's Swan. Skates all the way behind the net. Thompson comes in to help. Over to Georgette. To the line. Bouffard. She'll shoot it. The rebound deflects to the corner. That's knocked away from Georgette. Bouffard tries to hold it in and can't. And good play by Rubley. Grabs that puck in the neutral zone away from Henderson. Now Henderson's after it on the wall. Regina uses their best players on that penalty kill too, so have to be aware of them trying to create shorthanded chances. As Swift is making a line change, and that's called offside.
They were kind of lucky that they didn't get it.
That was close.
It wasn't the quickest line change I've seen, that's for sure.
37 seconds left in the penalty to Megan Hayhurst.
Wildcats are going to try and get another look with that top power play unit out here.
Here's Metzger. Leaves it for Keller. Good pressure on Keller by Petford. Back to Perlinger. Tries a shot. That's blocked. Slid by Keller down to McNinch. Now Keller again. McNinch trying to dig that puck back out. Johns gets it for Regina. Avoids McNinch. Puts it up the wall. Perlinger's there. Tried to work that back ahead for Keller. Clearing attempt blocked by Perlinger. She'll shoot it. That missed the net into the corner. Metzger hustling for it. Can't block the clear. And that'll do it. Swift Current 1 for 4 on their power play in this first period. And down the stretch we come. A minute to go in the period as Swift turned that over, but Bouffard broke it up. Up the wall. Here's McNinch. Chance for a 2-on-1. Georgette can't quite catch up. So McNinch makes a move herself, and she's forced to the outside. Good defensive play on her, I think, by McMaster. Up the wall, Hansen pinches in to keep it alive. Sorry, that was Nimigears who made the defensive play. She's also the goal scorer for Regina in this game. 30 seconds left in the period. Puck dumped into Swift Current territory. Here's Winger. Passed it off. What a chance to clear for Hansen. Hit a skate. Now Wingert's got it. Wingert has a lane. And she'll dump that deep. 14 seconds left in the first. Oh, a miss on the puck down low. Appel trying to get to it and can't. And that'll get cleared out as we hit the buzzer. In a battle of special teams in the first period, each team has a power play goal. Brooklyn Nimigears for the Regina Rebels. Samantha Thompson for the Swift Current Wildcats. David, we've got a 1-1 hockey game.
Hard to draw a ton of conclusions out of that first period for 5-on-5 play because it was almost virtually non-existent. But special teams, if you're Swift Current, you're obviously happy that you got through the front half of that 4-minute penalty, and then you give up the power play goal. Like you said, Nimigear is able to walk in off the point, and then your Swift Current, you're able to strike back on one of the numerous power plays you had after getting out of the sin bin yourselves. So I guess one thing to watch is, are the refs going to be this involved in the game as we go forth, or are teams going to make the adjustments?
Well, there's no question. When there are 6 minor penalties in a period, I mean, that's 12 of the 20 minutes right there. And then your shift after a penalty kill, your shift after a power play. So the flow of the regular even strength play was certainly not there yet. And as a result, we hardly saw the third or fourth lines. I know Regina really only they've got 10 forwards, so they don't really have a fourth line. But for Swift, I think the third and fourth lines maybe got a shift. Maybe 2 at most that were interrupted. So how is that going to affect the top players? Because for Swift are a little less used to that kind of ice time. I mean, the power play ice time is not as difficult, but that being said, they want to make sure everyone gets in the game.
Well, and part of the game plan for Swift all year has been depth. They think that they have a better squad than anyone really if you go up and down the lineup. So when they're having to lean on their top players so much, they get away from potentially their strength. And that's having a better third and fourth line than really any team in the province. So in power play time, you don't really want to trade chances with Regina, given that they had 4 of the top 5 point getters in the league this year. So
I do think you'll take 4 power plays to there too.
I think you'll do that. But if you're trading 1 for 1, you might get yourself in trouble. I mean, you give Petford and Gerard, and you go down the list. You get Henderson, and you give them all these looks. They're going to bury them eventually. Hayhurst is another. They have so much talent in that. They're a really top-heavy team. So if you can limit them to just 5-on-5 play, not allow them to have the man advantage,
right?
And then cash when you have the man advantage, essentially given that your depth is better than Regina's depth, maybe.
Well, and certainly both teams will adjust to the fact that the game's being called, I would think. As we take our first break, and we'll come back with our first intermission interview with assistant coach Blake Vogt. 1-1 hockey game in Game 2 of this second round series. You're watching Amateur Sports TV.
At CM Engrave, we create more than just trophies, medals, and signs. We create time. Time for family. Time for growing your business. Time for the moments that make you, you. With more than 30 years experience for all your engraving needs. CM Engrave.
Welcome to Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, your world-class academic and hockey training facility created to maximize each student's athletic and academic potential. Blackjack Stewart Arena, home of the Buffalo, is inside the 46,000 square foot complex, as well as a curling rink and other facilities. The students have a unique combination of successful, well-rounded education at Pilot Mountain Collegiate Institute and the professional hockey training in an encouraging community. The years of experience of on-ice coaching propel our students to the next level, both mentally and physically, in a professional environment.
Making the world a better place is always a work in progress, because our idea of success is not an endpoint. It's a new milestone from which we can move forward. As industries rise and new technologies take shape, we're committed to keeping pace, to ensuring our innovations are shared and our journeys celebrated, even as we set our sights on where to go next. This is how we live, how we learn, how we grow. Red River College, what we're doing is working.
Sean Mullen, David Zammit with you in Swift Current. 1-1, Game 2 between the Swift Current Innovation Credit Union Wildcats and the Regina Rebels. We're joined now by Swift Current assistant coach Blake Vogt in a 1-1 hockey game. Special teams dominated first period. What are your thoughts through 20?
Yeah, it's hard to find kind of that groove when it is so much special teams. You kind of keep playing same kids over and over on both sides of the ice there. So obviously we had more power plays, so we'll take that, and we cashed one in, and we want to keep on building from there.
What did you think of the power play goal? What was your take on how you guys were able to make that happen?
Yes, go to the net. I think it was a puck on net and kind of bounced out, and there's another chance there, and we put it in. So if you move the puck well on the power play, say 3 good passes, something's going to open up, and then go to the net, and good things happen.
I noted after Bouffard was looking to tee it up, and she kind of took something off of it to keep control of the play a little bit. And a lesson in that it's not always the hardest shot that wins you the battle, does it?
Yeah, exactly. As long as you can just kind of get it through, and yeah, even kind of down low at the pads, and then you do get some rebounds down there as well.
Their power play, I mean, they had that 4-minute power play. They've got a ton of weapons. It's been a tightly called game. If they get some more chances, what do you have to keep them contained?
Yeah, they do a good job at moving the puck around, and they get it high, and then and they got kids that can shoot the puck and put it where they want to put it. So we just got to, the main thing is block shots. We got to get in front of those shooting lanes, and we can't let them tee it up from high in the slot and be able to pick corners.
Players have to be aware of the fact that, like, everything that was called was a penalty, but at the same time, you never know in playoffs if it's going to be, the old playoff officiating or not. So as a group in the dressing room, you go, okay, guys, you have to really be aware of what you're doing out there. We don't want to give them opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to give them opportunities. Like we said, they have a very good power play. I think as long as we keep our feet moving, that's the name of the game. I thought we had our feet moving that period, and that's why maybe they took a couple more penalties.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Like both assistant coach of your Swift Current Wildcats, 1-1 game. Samantha Thompson with the equalizer after Brooklyn Nimigers opened the scoring for Regina. We'll come back just around the corner. Second period action from the Fairview West Arena in Swift. You're watching Amateur Sports TV.
The town of Stonewall is a great place to call home. Located just 25 kilometers north of Winnipeg, we offer our residents an abundance of services and amenities, from quality schools to a hospital with a fully functioning emergency room to great seniors housing. Our recreational facilities are second to none. The Veterans Memorial Sports Complex, the Heritage Arts Centre, Fines Field at Quarry Park, our paved walking paths, nature trails, and our jewel, Kinsman Lake. Stonewall has a strong base of businesses full of dedicated community-minded entrepreneurs that include a full range of retail and personal service businesses. Our industrial park has grown significantly in recent years, demonstrating the robust economy of our community and surrounding area. The quality of life experienced by our residents rivals any other community, which is why Stonewall is a great place to call home.
Sean Mullen, David Zammit with you back at the Fairview West Arena in Swift. It's a 1-1 hockey game through 20 minutes of play in Game 2. Each team with a power play goal. It was a 4-1 win yesterday for Regina in Game 1. Shots were pretty even in that game. They're 10-8 for Swift Current in this one. And, David, that's not a ton of shots, actually, when you're considered there were 6 combined power plays.
Yeah, like you said, 18 shots from two teams that are really skilled, especially on the power play. You'd almost expect more. I guess, in a sense, maybe some of that time was cut short on the power play, just given that Swift scored pretty early on their one-man advantage that they converted on, and then I think it was about a minute and a half or so left on the 4-minute penalty for Regina when they struck. So, I guess it wasn't the full time, but still, you're looking at 10-plus minutes of power play time and not an insane amount of chances for either side. But it'll be, that key to see how both teams react to what's being called now. Aside from the Samantha Thompson 4-minute penalty, Swift didn't commit any infractions, really. And then on the other side, you had Regina being called for a lot, but they were committing a lot of plays. So,
all right, we're ready to start the second period. And they're off. Hockey into Swift Current territory immediately. Dug free, couple of whacks at the side of the goal. Good effort there by Allie Gerard. And that'll get played up down the ice for an icing call against Swift immediately. You see a motivated Regina squad coming out to start that period. Face off deep in Swift Current territory. Off the draw. Work towards the front of the net by the Rebels. Came back to the line, held in by Nimigers. Swan on the wall. Whacked at that one. Deflect to the point. Skating in, Nimigers shooting. She already has one goal in this game. Swift still can't clear. Metzger up for McNinch. Away now comes McNinch. Up ahead trying to catch Swan. That deflects into the corner. And quickly cleared out by the Rebels. That'll be an icing call against Regina now. In a 1-1 game, 18:52 left in the second frame. And a draw deep inside Swift Current territory. Thompson to take the face-off. Beaten on the draw. Worked by Nimigers. Into the corner. Up to the line. Rubley couldn't hold it in. Out to center. Bryce has it. Here's Bryce again. In, cutting towards the front. She got held up. And the play is whistled dead. Covered up in front by Swift Current goaltender Carly Lannon. Nice move by Bryce through the neutral zone. 18:30 to go in the second period. Face-off won by the Wildcats, but jumped on by the Rebels. Played back to the line, and a good shot block there by Swift Current's Watain. Swift trying to get their top players out for those defensive zone face-offs, as that one was centered and Henderson got a piece. Loose puck, whacked at by Watain, and now she's away. Here's Watain, driving towards the Regina goal and cut off. Good defensive play on her. Working it around is Watain. Back to the line, steers it out front. Trying to get a shot from there was Wingert, and that was taken away from her and cleared up the ice. Fired down into Swift Current territory. Wingert played it to the wall. Georgette there. Taken away back to the line for a wrister. Blocked in front as Daly couldn't get that through. Reversed by Swift, but a turnover. Jumped on by Maya Gerard and centered. And Appel's got that for the Wildcats. Appel, who drew a penalty earlier, got stopped at the line, but Georgette's able to dump that one in at least. And that'll be worked out. Collision in the neutral zone. Saw Wingard get knocked down. In comes Brett Kreutz. She'll play it into the corner. Couple of swats at that one. At the line. Held in by Schmidt for Regina. And deflected ahead. Down the left wing side. It'll be sent deep for Swift as they make a line change. Wildcats get fresh bodies out here. Back to center ice is Nimigears. Gains the Swift Current line. Trying to take that to the net, and she couldn't get by Metzger. Now the pass out of Metzger's reach. She's going to try to get there. We've got 16-19 to go in the second period. Still a 1-1 game. And here's Petford for Regina. Cutting in, and a good defensive play made on her by Bouffard. Now another long pass. Another one out of the reach of Metzger. Swan trying to put that one onto the stick there and was a good 2 meters ahead of her captain. As a result, it's an icing call against Swift. 16:03 to go, second period. This game evened up at 1. Draw one by Regina. Point shot. Good pad save made by Lehner. And the Wildcats turn it the other way. Dumped ahead. In behind the net now. Swan. Trying to work it around. Had it taken away and cleared. And that puck knocked down into Swift Current territory. Good play to break that up by Bouffard. Centered. That's off a stick and turned up ice again by the Wildcats. Here's Urich down the right wing. Had a little bit of room. Turns to her backhand. Pass that off to Price. So that's intercepted and cleared out. Good play there by Flynn. Rubley back in her own end. Banks that one ahead. Stopped at center ice. Trying to force it ahead was Kerwin. She couldn't. Now Rubley again. Knocked away from her by Flynn. Swift dumps it to the Regina line. There's Schmidt. Moved that to the neutral zone. Gets loose for Henderson. She's got a lane. And scores. Greta Henderson gets behind the Swift Current D. And that makes it 2-1 Regina Rebels. Henderson, one of the more dangerous players on the Rebels, as the play got stuck in the neutral zone a couple times there. Eventually, they were able to get Henderson loose, and she found a hole for her fourth of the playoffs. And Regina's got their second lead of this hockey game as they attempt to take a commanding 2-0 edge in this best-of-5 series.
Yeah, Swift will be playing from behind again here. Kind of like the first a bit, but been a lot of 5-on-5 action here to start the second period, but Swift Current hasn't been able to really turn anything in their favor. It's been a lot of Regina to start.
And the Wildcats get a clear, but that's an icing as Keller tries to race to it and beat it out and cannot. Yeah, you mentioned the 5-on-5 play. We have not seen a penalty yet in this second period. And Regina has been quicker to pucks. Wildcats' passes have been off the mark, and they've been stuck in their own zone a little bit.
Yeah, even the breakout, they've really struggled, right? And then if you're struggling to just break the puck out, then you're really going to be chasing it a bit.
Puck smacks there by Petford ahead. Perlinger avoids the pressure, moves that up. Wingert's pass is too far. Back comes Regina again. Hill. Followed up now by Brickroots. Shot towards the net by Hill, deflected wide. Appel on it for Swift. Tried to leave that to Bouffard. It's a turnover to Brickroots. Now battling for it, Maya Gerard. Taken away from her. Up the wall and out. Niemigiers has that and dumps it back into Swift Current territory. No icing there as Perlinger moves it across. Bouffard up for Appel down the left wing. She'll dump that in. Deflects into the corner. Georgette trying to get to it. Knocked away from her. Up the wall it comes. At the line. Held in by Jones. Jones again. Got it to McNinch. She tried to drive. Got blocked. At the line. A shot! Sent high by Bacchus. McNinch to Jones. Jones trying to move it back into McNinch. Intercepted by Hayhurst. And we do have our first penalty of this second period. And it is again to the Regina Rebels.
Cross leg. Cross check. I think that was on McNinch, and McNinch has been really strong on the puck. Really hungry for the puck, and she's going to stay out here and take the draw. Swift Current's going to go to their 5th power play of the game, and they're going to look to capitalize on this one. Try and tie the game back up like they did their most recent power play.
There is McNinch. Works it to Perlinger. She'll shoot it off the crossbar. Rebound collected by Watain. Back to Metzger. Perlinger. One-timer wide. Keller. Pressured by Johns. Keller still got it. 2 players coming at her, and eventually she lost that one, and that's cleared the length of the ice.
Hit the crossbar square, too.
Very close to a tie game there. McNinch. Dropped it back to Keller, and it's a turnover as that pass was off the mark. Swift fights to get it back. Here's Watain. Under pressure and hard pressure from Flynn. Another turnover to Petford, and she's in with Flynn. Petford shooting. That's high. Ricochets out into the neutral zone, and Niemigiers whacks that back deep. 55 seconds to go in the Swift Current power play. They hit a crossbar and now have hit a stumble on this power play. 11:17 to go in the second frame. It is a 2-1 lead for the Regina Rebels as Perlinger works it up next to her bench. Swift in the midst of a change. Here's McNinch. Busts in, passed it off, and Metzger had a one-timer but fanned on it. Real good luck for the captain there, and the Rebels are able to clear. 24 seconds to go in the power play.
Rebels were all focused on McNinch there. She cut to the slot area. She found Metzger backdoor, but Metzger fanned on the one-timer. Wasn't able to convert.
There's Thompson, or Rubley, and Swan. And a step ahead of her. 11 seconds of power play time to go for Swift. So they had 2 world-class scoring chances, but not a lot of extended zone time out of that man advantage.
They haven't got a shot to the net other than the one that hit the crossbar either. So not ideal if you're Swift Current here. They've only got 10 shots halfway through the game now. They're going to need that number to be higher if they're going to win this hockey game.
Battle for the puck in the neutral zone. Swan can't come up with it. And a good interception there by Swift. Dumped back in by Kerwin. Here come the Rebels, and there is a knockdown at the line. Henderson looking for a call, doesn't get one. And I think a retaliation penalty is coming.
No, Hayhurst they got.
Hayhurst again.
Wow. 6-2 are the penalties now.
Yeah.
Wow. Swift is really going to need to maybe capitalize on this one because you'd almost have to think the hockey gods will be against them for another call in their favor for the man advantage after this one.
And she was upended heading into the zone. Right after that, a hard check by Hayhurst behind the net. Even if you thought you should have had one, you got to be disciplined as that's ripped off the side of the goal by Georgette.
That was deceiving, that shot by Georgette there.
Georgette tried to work that down to Swan. Fished out by Thompson. To the point, a shot, Rubley, and gobbled up by the goaltender, Peyton Schlamp, with Swan right on the doorstep. And 1:38 to go in the penalty to Megan Hayhurst.
Swan did tip it in front, too. Not a ton, but she got a piece of it.
Now Swan will take the draw up against Allie Gerard. Swan with a face-off win, but got tied up, and that allows Gerard to clear it. Gerard kind of held her there, and Henderson will race after it. Gets to the puck behind the net, wins the puck. Now she's going to use her speed to just kill some time.
They got a pressure there.
Good job by Henderson here, and now she'll drop it back to Johns, and Johns tried to feed it back ahead to her. Now Swift with the counterattack. Into the zone comes Thompson. Thompson forced to the outside. Johns tries to clear, and Bouffard can't get to the point to keep that in. 1 minute to go in the Swift Current power play. They're 6. They're 1 for 5. As Bouffard sets up behind the net. Works that out to McNinch. She's got some room. Up ahead now. Into the zone. Watain. Keller. Watain. That's broken up. Nice defensive play in front by Brickroots. And cleared. Metzger at center. Ran into her own teammate, Watain, on the attempt to get into the zone. Now Watain works it for McNinch. She's got some room to skate. Enters the zone left wing side. Tried to work it back to the line for Metzger, got blocked. Clearing attempt right to Metzger. She'll shoot it. Hit her own player, Watain in front. 14 seconds left on the advantage. And a hard check on McNinch on the wall by Breckroots. Played around Perlinger. Trying to hold that in against Petford. Cannot, and that's cleared out by Breckroots, and we're done. Advantage number 6 for Swift. It remains a 2-1 Regina lead. And the penalty kill for Regina has been very good as they get called for an icing. A high-pressure, high-skill penalty kill. That outside of that 1 or 2 looks in the last 2 power plays has really kept Swift's advantage at bay.
Yeah, and they only had one shot on that power play, so not ideal if you're Swift. You're not getting a ton of chances. Even when you have the man advantage, you're already down a goal.
Price tried to center that. It deflected to the wall, and that'll get out. Flex out of play, and the face-off will be in Swift Current territory.
So Kern will have to be careful here. Regina's going to load up their unit, and they're going to look to use the advantage coming off that penalty kill. Another penalty kill for Regina.
Here's Appel down the left wing side. Into the corner. Puck goes off of Wingert. Held in by the pinch from Perlinger. Now up comes Grice. Left wing pass. Alexis Petford crosses and shoots. That'll be swallowed up. Good save made by Carly Lehner. 2-1 Regina leading. 6:50 to go, second period.
Petford's shot was right into the midsection of Lehner, and she made the smart play and just hold on to it, give up no rebound there.
Draw will be to the right of the Swift Current goal. Here's Keller. Tried to backhand that one ahead and got stopped. Followed up now by Thompson. Had her stick hit by Flynn. Thompson moves it ahead for Watain. Watain to the net wide. Comes to Keller on the wall. She works it back to the point. Wrist shot from there. Deflected by Watain in front, but it didn't have enough. Held in by Keller behind the net now. Watain can't get a stick on it. Worked ahead by Carpin. Stopped by Thompson. And there's Gottslick. She'll skate. Gain center. Dumps it in for Regina. Hansen back for it. Going up against Hayhurst down low. Regina works it back to the line. Carpin shooting. Wide. Comes to a chain on the wall, and she will clear that out. Chain was a 20-goal scorer in the regular season. The Gottslick banks that puck ahead for Henderson down the left wing. Wrist shot. Stopped by Lehner. Henderson gets her own rebound. Wheels back to the point with it. Works that to the right side. Sent back across the front of the net. Nice play there by Daly. But Swift's able to turn that back up ice. And sent deep by Hansen. Puck up the wall. McNinch is there. Tried to slide it across the slot. Nobody in there for Swift, though, and Petford clears. Perlinger cuts in and shoots. She'll miss high and wide.
Interesting.
Again. Shot blocked.
Interesting play there as Petford was looking for Hayhurst, who was behind the Wildcats defenseman. And I just find it really interesting that you'd be trying to sneak in behind the defenseman when you're up in a game. I understand maybe wanting to stretch the lead, but it's just an interesting play in your defensive zone. How you're flying the zone already.
Regina on the attack here. Nimigers has one of their 2 goals. Back to the point for Schmidt. Shot wide. Bouffard had it behind the net, but lots of pressure on her. They stole it away in a wraparound try. Denied by Lehner as Brickroots got that to the net. At the line, a shot blocked. That attempt by Daly didn't get through. Regina putting the pressure on here, trying to extend their lead with 4:20 to go in this second frame, and Schmidt skates it back out.
Swift Currents only had 2 shots in this period, and both of them came on a power play.
And a quick wrister to the net by Maya Gerard. Caught and held by Lehner, and we'll get a face-off in Wildcat territory as Urick gets into a bit of a shove fest with a couple of Rebels. Nothing too extreme, nothing to call, with 4:07 to go in the second period. Regina is out shooting Swift substantially by an 11-2 margin in the period.
They've been the ones killing the penalties, too, Regina has.
Draw to the right of the Swift Current goal. Tied up. And away comes Urick. She's got a lane. Gets it deep. Kerwin after it. Shipped by her up the wall by Carpin. There's Bacchus trying to shoot it. Carpin blocked that. Back come the Rebels. Down the wing with it is Flynn. Shooting. Stick save made by Lehner. Around behind the net with it. Gottslick played it to the line. Gets it back and shoots. Rebound is there! And it's covered up by Lehner. A couple of scoring chances around the Swift Current net. 3:27 to go in the second period, which has been heavily in Regina's favor. And they only lead it by a 2-1 score.
Yeah, that could be a positive if you're Swift, right? You've been back on your heels a little bit, and you're really only down 1 here, and you can score that basically at any time. Rainer's been strong in her first game in this series so far for Swift.
Draw 1 by the Wildcats in their own end. Keller deflects it ahead. Watain trying to get loose. 2 players right on her. Thompson follows up, but she's going to be offside as she touches that up. Thompson's got the lone goal for the Wildcats in this game. For Samantha, her second of the postseason.
Oh, they're not letting Swift change here, I guess.
An argument on the attempted line change. Wildcats are too late. Puck in the neutral zone. Thompson. Herlinger. Watane. Gains the line. Gets it deep. They won't change anyway, so weren't that concerned. Back the other way now comes Ali Gerard. Wide of the Swift Current net. She'll chase after it against Perlinger. Perlinger won that puck, then had to skate to it herself. And had it knocked off her stick. Played back by Grice behind the net for Ali Gerard. She stopped as she tried to wrap that out front. Wildcats will clear it. Fanned on there by Thompson, who will head off for a line change. His second try gets it deep. Keller and Watane trying to win the puck down low. Knocked away up for Alexis Petford, who will clear it just to the line as it's knocked right back in. Swift is still offside. Wingard had to skate back out. Bacchus nearly intercepted that pass to Petford. Instead, nobody touched it, and it ends up being an icing.
I think Regina avoided touching it there because they were going to maybe get called for too many men. As Petford kind of jumped over the puck as it went over towards the bench. And I think she was worried the change hadn't been made yet.
Right.
So she ended up letting it go for the icing, which is probably the better choice at the time.
2:02 to go in the period. Oh, a shot off a draw in by Swift's Hansen. Redirected out front, made for a tough save off the pads there of Schlamp. And Petford's got it. Down the left wing side, slapped in wide of the Swift Current goal. Around behind the net with it. Regina's Hill had it there. Now there's a battle. McNinch took a whack. It's centered. And away comes Metzger. Got some lane. Gets it into Regina territory. Trying to get to it herself, but Daly's there first. Cleared up, and here's Henderson. Henderson down the left wing side. She'll get that deep.
The ref kind of doing a cartwheel to get out of the way there.
Now Swan clears it out. Down the stretch we come in the second period. It is a 2-1 Regina lead. And away comes McNinch. She lost the handle on it. It was rolling a bit. 50 seconds to go in the period. Swing and a miss by Rubley. And away comes Petford, shooting off the outside of the post. Swift follows up, clearing attempt, knocked down at the line for Regina. And a good play to get that back deep by Hayhurst. Rubley battling Hayhurst behind the net. Petford's got it. Plays it to the half wall, back to the line. Slap shot by Schmidt, caught and held by Lehner. 19.9 seconds to go in the second period. Regina leading 2-1.
Go back to that Hansen chance at the other end for Swift, and that was definitely their best chance of the period to get on the board as Schlamp had to make a kick save with her right leg. That was a ton of traffic in front of her. One thing Regina's done really well, though, is when Swift gets the puck, they kind of all just cluster in the slot area really quickly and kind of bog it up and don't allow Swift to really have any room in there to work with it or set anything up.
And that's going to run out the clock. Well, I would say, given the nature of the period, a 1-goal deficit is not the worst result for Swift Current. That said, when you have the 2 power plays, and the only 2 power plays, I'm sure they would have hoped that the chances would have been a little more directed in their favor. Instead, it's a 1-goal Regina lead heading into the third. And some adjustments that Swift Current's going to have to make in the intermission. We hadn't really seen 5-on-5 play in this game. And we saw a lot of it in that second period, and it was heavily in Regina's favor.
Yeah, Regina did a really good job of using their speed. Attacking on the rush obviously got them the 1 goal, which was a breakaway, but their transition speed was really good. They spent what it seemed like little to no time in their zone for large parts of the period. And they had Swift Current defending. Now, if you're Swift Current, you didn't give up a ton of grade A chances. I mean, obviously the goal was a really good look, but
they were on their heels a lot of the period.
Yeah.
And stuck in their own zone a lot of the period. But, yeah, I mean, 2 or 3, maybe 4 out of all of that. But, you know, they were outshot by a 15-4 margin. So possession certainly favored Regina. Chances favored Regina. And in a period like that, I mean, you said it yourself, you only get down the 1 goal as a result of that. You're not happy about it, but it's not as bad as it could be.
Right? You're chasing the game, but you're right there. Yeah. You can score that 1 goal with 1 second left in the game, but whereas you get down a couple, and especially after a period that lopsided, might deflate you a little bit and might get to your head.
Well, and let's face it, we're used to the fact that Swift doesn't score in the second periods because that's when we have the better look at them on the camera. So if they're going to score goals, it's going to be when they're far away on our camera feed. And that's just how the cookie is crumbled, so to speak. And Swift's been a good third period team,
especially of late. Yeah. They've had some comebacks, right? So
we'll see what happens.
Maybe we'll get a special guest on here in a second.
It is a 2-1 lead for the Regina Rebels after 40 minutes of play. You're watching Swift Current Wildcat Hockey on Amateur Sports TV.
Making the world a better place is always a work in progress, because our idea of success is not an endpoint. It's a new milestone from which we can move forward. As industries rise and new technologies take shape, we're committed to keeping pace, to ensuring our innovations are shared and our journeys celebrated, even as we set our sights on where to go next. This is how we live, how we learn, how we grow. Red River College, what we're doing is working.
Sean Mullen and David Zammit with you. It is a 2-1 Regina lead through 40 minutes of play. Home goal of the period cut off the stick of Greta Henderson. Scored one yesterday too. Henderson, one of the better players in the league, David. And Swift let her get behind in the neutral zone. That speed resulted in the goal, but in general, it was certainly a period that was in Regina's favor. You mentioned not a ton of high-quality scoring chances came out of it, but now that the Wildcats are in a deficit, and they've had 6 power plays already, so can't count on special teams opportunities. I think if you're Swift Current, you've got to find a way to turn the tide of the play, get your feet moving, and hem Regina in a little bit now.
In a sense, defending-wise, Swift Current might have to be careful, too, on just what they're committing infraction-wise, because you'd almost have to think. I mean, obviously, if Regina commits a pretty major foul, they're going to call it, but anything tic-tacky might go against Swift Current at this point, so you have to be careful defending that way.
You don't
want
to think that.
You don't want to, but I
mean,
mean,
hope the game's not officiated that way, and
yeah.
I don't think it has been.
No, it's been pretty straight up, but
just sort of human nature is that if you've had lots of power plays, you can't count on having more.
Yeah.
And they've had their looks, and
I mean,
they need to get their 5-on-5 play going.
Yeah, and they certainly had a look, and Perlinger's wrist shot that went off the crossbar that was, an inch away from what would have had us tied, and Swift Current's second goal on the power play of the game, but it didn't go, and then they spent, the majority of the period in their own end defending. Laner came up with some timely saves, but you have to create more than 4 shots when you're down in a game, especially when you have a couple of power plays. But I think they will. I think they'll have a good third period here. We've seen it all year. When they've fallen behind, they don't normally give up. They don't just roll over. This isn't a team that has that track record. I'd imagine they'll come out here flying, and I could see them within the first couple of minutes here, maybe putting Regina back on their heels a bit and creating. I'd imagine that top line will start with Metzger and McNinch, and they'll look to get to work, with that board play and cycle and try and create from there. One thing, if you're Swift, McNinch can create a lot for you, but a lot of the game, I've noticed that Regina's had multiple players at times just staying really tight to her. So it's almost like they understand if she's able to get the puck and if they can get it off her stick, it's like, let someone else beat you kind of deal. And I mean, it's not like Swift Current doesn't have someone else on that line that can beat them. Metzger can beat them as well, so something to watch for. And then Swift Current has a really good second line, and Thompson, Watain, and Keller, and you're probably going to want something from them as well. I know Thompson scored on the power play, but they can certainly create. Watain was up, I think, 9th in league scoring. Keller wasn't far behind her, really. So, I mean, they have the options. And then you got Lake and Swan in your top 6, too. So, a lot of options there. You just got to get them going somehow.
Yeah, it was a weird game. You spent the whole first period on special teams and didn't get a chance to see what the game was going to be like 5-on-5. And now that Swift's had a chance to get a feel for that 5-on-5 game, and they find themselves in a deficit, they're going to have to make some adjustments. And we'll see what kind of adjustments they make when we come back for third period action in a 2-1 Regina.
I thought
You're watching Amateur Sports TV. We're back for third period action. As Swift Current trails Regina 2-1, trails the best of 5, 1-0. And makes an adjustment here with Wingert up the middle with McNinch and Metzger. Swan normally a part of that trio as we're off in the third period. McNinch's pass misses Metzger, and it's dumped into Swift Current territory. We thought there'd be some adjustments from the Wildcats after a second period that didn't go the way they planned. And we've seen same lines for Swift for months. So we'll see how they adjust to those changes, if they're permanent. Fired into Swift Current territory by Alexis Petford, who will catch and hold for a face-off inside Swift Current territory.
I was going to say, I guess we'll learn a lot right here when the second line comes out and see if Swan's on it, but she's not. So I'd imagine Swan's been moved to the third line as they're keeping the second line intact.
Or they wanted Wingert to start the period. It's hard to say.
Yeah. They had her at center, too, which is another interesting one.
Well, she plays center on the third line.
Yeah, but I guess my point is more that McNinch is really strong in the draw circle. And if you can get opening possession, that was a hard crash there by Watain into the boards.
Played out of the zone by Hansen. Down the ice into the Regina zone. Oh, and almost a turnover there by Regina's Gotsley. Swift trying to fight for that in the corner. Played to the line. Rubley couldn't hold it in. And away comes Henderson. Wrist shot wide of the net.
Almost the exact location that she missed her first wrist shot back in the first period on a similar chance.
Watain drags, tries to shoot. Got blocked by Smith. Came behind the net. Worked to the wall. And held in by Bacchus at the line. Deflects there to Wingert, so she's back on her spot on that third line. So it was just to start. I think I saw her out there to start the first two. So
yeah, she did. She was in the starting lineup. You're right. She was with Metzger and McNinch there. So
yeah, they're just looking at a different start. Jones up for Wingert. Wingert stick check. Jones passed it back off a stick. Ooh, and there's a penalty. Wingert trying to swipe at the puck, and it caught the skate blade of Regina's Ashley Breakroots. And Swift Current down one already, facing a very potent Regina power play with 17:50 to go in the third. Cannot afford to give one up here.
Yeah, Swift Current's really going to have to dig in here. Regina has to be careful the other way, though. I mean, McNinch and Watain are out there for Swift, so I know obviously Swift Current won't be looking for offense off it, but if they somehow get a chance.
Well, here's McNinch up to Watain. McNinch skating hard. Watain makes a great move down the left wing. Wrist shot. Hot and held by Slam as Nostradamus Zamet let us know a dangerous shorthanded opportunity for Swift Current right off the hop there.
If you're Swift, that's what you want to see. I mean, your top players are out there, and you got more top players out here now with
by Metzger, but the linesman whistled the draw dead.
So
that's
maybe
a fine beard on our linesman, almost looks like a large chin strap.
Colors it white, he can be Santa Claus.
Hard battle for it in the corner. Keller trying to keep it pinned. Dug free by Metzger. Back to the line. A shot by Bouffard well wide.
Who's on the power play here?
Well, Swift Current getting aggressive. Now they got to be careful as Petford try to pass, deflects across. Nimigears, who has the power play goal in this game for Regina, chasing after it, clearing it up by Perlinger. Comes to Johns at the line. Johns leaves to Henderson. Henderson slap shot, blocked in front by Metzger. Deflects high behind the goal. Now Bouffard tries to go up the wall. Nobody there for Regina. Keller moves that ahead to Metzger. She'll cross into the zone and shoots it wide. That hopped off the end boards and back across the front of the net.
Yeah, if Keller wasn't going for a change there, she would have had a great chance if she went to the net.
Now another clear by Rubley and a terrific penalty kill by the Wildcats with 30 seconds to go in Wingert's penalty.
They've spent half of it in the offensive zone.
Up the ice now into the zone is Schmidt. Oh, that's offside there. It's held in at the point. Cross for Flynn. 14 seconds to go on the power play as Flynn missed the net. Schmidt's on it. Gave that away to Rubley, and Rubley will clear to center.
Just really good pressure is what it's been for Swift here.
And, yeah, that thought of offense kind of kept Regina on their heels a little bit, too. Loose puck. Moved ahead for Hayhurst. She can't get a shot. Now Flynn turns it over to Rubley, then whacked it off her stick. Gloved ahead by Rubley.
Glove pass?
Glove pass
think.
because it came out to the neutral zone.
Huh.
Now we've got a draw back in Swift Current territory as a result.
The line juggling at the benches is interesting to watch. Regina had half their one line out, and then they pulled them back once they realized that the Wildcats were going to be sending out their fourth line.
Urich had a couple nice rushes in this game. Back to Bouffard. Perlinger clears the zone. No icing. Regina has to chase it. Pressure from Urich. Wins the puck in the corner. Price on it. This is the line that scored a huge goal against the Battlefords in game one of that series. Kerwin can't keep it in. And it's dumped into Swift Current territory. 14:49 to go in the third. Long pass by Hansen. Up to McNinch. He'll try and go between the legs of the defender, Nimigears, and could not. Perlinger keeps the puck in. Won't shoot. Didn't have a lane. Now Swan to McNinch. Back to the line. Shot from the point. High and wide. That's no exaggeration there. And the puck is cleared out. Bouffard turns that one over at her own line, but it would have been offside against Petford. So Swan grabs it, banks it off the boards to herself, and dumps that puck in. Swan chasing. Got a stick on it in the corner. Clearing attempt. Bouffard fought hard to hold that in, but only for a moment. Now Metzger. Pressure dropped it back to Perlinger. Across to McNinch. Swan going to the net and a late offside. 13:38 to go in the third, and a neutral zone draw coming with a 2-1 Regina lead.
I thought Metzger, it looked like she was tripped in the neutral zone, but I don't know if it was just deemed coincidental or what there.
High draw. Swatted ahead. Keller trying to get control. Forced to the outside. Slides it down to Attain. Over to Keller on the wall. Back to the line. Hansen a drive. Blocked in front. Schmidt getting the big shin guards in the way there.
That's a risky play for Schmidt. If she didn't square that block up.
Oh, a turnover on the clearing attempt. Here's Latine. Shot off the arm of goaltender Peyton Schlamp. And iced by the Rebels. Swift putting the pressure on as they trail by one. Trying to even this game and even this series. It's a 2-1 Regina lead. 13:03 to go in the third.
Terry Pavley's going to go back to his top line here with McNinch, Metzger, and Swan. But just back to that block by Schmidt. If she didn't block that squarely, then
Point shot off the goal post.
That is what could have. What?
Oh, and it's a penalty right away to Swift, so that wouldn't have counted.
Is it a goalie interference call then?
I'm not sure what the call is.
I don't know. And then the ref yelled at the Wildcats bench right after. So
That wouldn't have counted, I don't think. And a hard low shot by Hansen caught the post square.
it was almost like Perlinger's shot. It ricocheted.
Well, Perlinger's hit the crossbar.
Yeah. But just, I guess, how interference.
Just interference, yeah.
So would it have counted as?
Well, it depends when the call happened.
It was so
It
quick.
was so quick off the hit post. I suspect the penalty was coming. McNinch upper with Kane. Oh, she nearly got loose. As Swift, shorthanded, keeps putting the pressure on. Here comes Regina, looking for the dagger as they lead this one 2-1. Perlinger in the corner. Under pressure, great job against two Rebels. Won that puck and got it clear. There's Nimigears. Wingard on her. Nimigears plays it around the other side. Ooh, nearly a trip against Wingard there, but Schmidt stayed on her feet. Wingard after her again, and Schmidt will skate. Cross ice pass up the middle into the zone now for Hayhurst. She'll drop it. Here's a great chance. And Petford hit the side of the goal. And Swift gets a quick clear from Rudley. 38 seconds left in Metzger's penalty. 11:30 to go in the third.
Thompson almost stole the puck behind the net, but just to go back to that Petford chance, I don't know if she realized how much room she actually had. She could have come in even tighter and made a move in tight to get around Lehner, but instead just chose to shoot at the side of the net. So if you're Swift, you'll take that.
Bouffard backhanded that one onto the goal, and here come the Rebels again. Some speed into the zone. Henderson tried to center that one to Petford. Now a loose puck. Petford across. Great save made by Lehner on Ali Gerard. A wide open look for Regina's captain to try and bury this game. And Lehner made a big-time save. And we're back to 5-on-5 with 10:56 to go in the third.
I was more interested in the aftermath of that. Henderson went barreling into the boards earlier in the shift, and then she kind of tried to crash the net as the whistle went there, and then got...
That's her up to Swan. Swan shooting. That deflects wide. Rebels on the rush. Wristed onto the goal and knocked by Lehner to the wall. There was some battle in the front of the net after as well.
Yeah, sorry, just back to that. And the ref turned to Henderson, who was looking for a call, and told her to be quiet, is a polite way to say it. I could hear it from up here, so.
Hansen, a long pass, trying to catch Metzger behind the D. Didn't work. Now it comes to Metzger in alone. Score! Tie game. The captain, Eva Metzger, steps up. And an aggressive Wildcats attack in this third period is paid off. 2-2 game with 10:08 to go in the third.
I don't want to say I called this one as well, but I did feel like Swift would have a way better third period. It just, their character, they're such a good team. The second period didn't really seem like them, and what an answer from the captain there. And she's actually had a couple of clutch goals against Regina this year. She had the game winner back in November. She scored it with 5 minutes left in what was a 3-3 game here at the Fairview West Arena. She scored it with a beautiful one-on-one move to get around the defender and buried that one. And this one, she had a straightaway look at the goaltender and beat Schlamp block her side about mid-high. Just a really well-placed shot there.
It's funny, in the second, Swift had the 2 power plays. Regina was the better team. They scored 5-on-5. In the third, Regina's had the 2 power plays. Swift has been the better team. They scored 5-on-5.
Very, very good observation, Sean.
Now, we'll see. Swift has been very aggressive in this third period, trailing the game. Does this change their strategy at all? Or do you want to say, this is working? You know, it's resulted in putting the Rebels on their heels. But if you keep attacking to that degree, you also open the door for one of their players to have this kind of a high-quality scoring chance.
I wonder when fatigue becomes a real factor. I mean, they played last night. I know Regina's players have done it all year, but Swift's depth, they have an entire extra forward line.
I would say, though, that those lines haven't played much, and I don't know how much they're going to play in a 2-2 game.
We say that, and they're out there right now, though, so. Or at least the third line for Swift is.
Here's Georgette. There's check by a Bell in the neutral zone. I think she got away with it.
The puck wasn't even right there either, so.
That's dumped into Swift Current territory. Bacchus puts it up the wall to Georgette. Held in at the line. A slap shot attempt by Schmidt, who then shoves Wingard. Georgette over to Jones. Up to Appel. Nice cross-ice feed to Georgette, who's down the right wing. Gets it deep. Chases in there against Johns. Played up the wall. Georgette got a stick on that. Johns blocks the dump to the corner. Now McNinch after it. Taken away by Ali Gerard. Stolen back by Metzger. Now Metzger centers it. And that's blocked by Petford before it got to Swan. McNinch. Perlinger. A shot deflected high. Off of Regina's stick and just over top of the net.
Yeah, Schlamp was down there. If that actually somehow ended up on net in the top. Yeah, it would have.
At the line, Bouffard shooting off of Regina's skate and wide. That's why it's never a bad play to shoot as the Wildcats turn it over there, and then Metzger stole it back. Here's Bouffard down the right side. Lost it. And offside called as Bouffard mishandled that puck. Another good shift there for Swift, although nothing to the net. Officially came out of that with 7:44 to go in this third period, and we're all evened up at 2.
I'm starting to question the shot clock for Swift Current. I certainly believe they've got more than 4 shots this period, or at least doesn't it seem that way, Sean?
Pressure can lead to chances that don't lead to shots.
That's fair. And I mean, they did just have a couple of missed shots or missed net shots there in that last sequence, but I don't know. It seems like they've had more than 4 shots.
And all that really affects is Peyton Schlamp's save percentage.
And then the Wildcats obviously don't care about that really much either, as long as it's not stellar.
Yeah. Puck dumped in by Bouffard. Thompson tried to pressure there. Passed out to the neutral zone. Hit a Swift Current stick.
Good play by Keller there on the back pressure to stop that one.
Dumped in by Keller and now moved back up the other way. Down the right side, Henderson got it deep. He's got one of the 2 goals for Regina. Henderson cycled that off to Hayhurst. Hayhurst wrapping around into the right corner. Worked that the left half wall. There's Swan, had her stick hit. Followed up by Rubley, trying to force that puck out. McNinch made a move at center. Here she comes down the right side. Centered that one to Metzger. McNinch tries from a tough angle. Not enough room. Swan gets control of it in the corner. Now curls out and stick check by Henderson. Regina's able to clear, and that deflects down to the Swift Current line. Bank back ahead for the Wildcats to Swan. After Regina was changing. Drop feed. Swan turns it over. Good read there. And a penalty coming to Swift Current as Hansen is going to get called for holding up Petford. And Swift Current, who's killed off 2 Regina power plays in this third, will now have to kill off another one as Petford's speed costs the Wildcats there.
It's almost even in the power play department now at this point. Swift's taken 3 here in the third.
Yeah, this is Regina's 5th trip to the man advantage. They're 1 for 4. Scored in the first period. Nimigears. Petford. One-timer right into the breadbasket. Caught and held by Carly Lehner.
One thing to watch on this shift is how long Petford will stay out. I mean, obviously these whistles will actually help her, but she was just out on the ice before the penalty, so I wonder how long they leave her. Henderson was also out too, and Henderson just got caught cheating trying to get into the draw circle there.
Good face-off win, no, by Petford anyway. Henderson curls all the way to the other side. Oh, and she dropped it, and Watain had it. And now here comes McNinch. McNinch with Watain. Watain to the net, and that one stopped. And then a shove by goaltender Peyton Slamp on Watain. McNinch, good back check. She's got it. Up to Watain. One-on-one in the zone. She gets loose. Oh, my goodness. Watain went to the backhand and couldn't pull the trigger as it's deflected back down into Swift Current territory. And it's a too-many-men call, I think, here. Oh, no, it's an icing.
It should be a too-many-men. They had 6 on the ice there for a second, too, but
it's an icing call
How
for
did-
Regina.
how did that one not make it in, though? I thought she had her beat. It looked like she had her beat to the post. She must have just got a piece of it.
It was almost hockey god karma there as goaltender Slamp had taken a shot at Watain, keeping her stuck in the net. And then by the time she got back up, it led to that breakaway. And here's a chance for Metzger, shorthanded. That's not going to deflect in the way she needs it to.
It doesn't. Oh, it almost didn't matter.
What an aggressive play by Swift on the penalty kill in this third period. And Bach has lost her stick there, but Thompson helped out, got it deep, and got a change.
Regina might want to reject their next power play opportunity at this point.
Well, don't speak too soon. 23 seconds left on this advantage. And that's cleared the length of the ice by Rubley.
They've certainly given up more, though, than you would expect on a power play here in the third.
Well, again, when it was 2-1, I understood. But Swift has had success with their aggression. They're not stopping. And now Perlinger moves that up to McNinch. McNinch down the left side. Good stick check on her, and she lost the puck. Back the other way comes Hayhurst. She'll get it deep. 5-on-5 now. 3:35 to go in the third period. Cleared out by Swift. Back in comes Petford. Right wing side. Wrapping around with it. Petford still got it. Left it at the line. Shot wide of the net by Carpin. And Wingert forced it out. Tried to pass that over to Watain, but was behind her. It's dumped back to the Swift Current line. Appel trying to get to it and can't. Dumped behind the Swift Current goal again, Perlinger. Pass, turnover, shot to the net as that deflected right to the stick of Molly Flynn, and Lehner makes the save.
I wondered if Terry was going to leave that third line out there, but obviously he's not with 2:50 left on the clock. He's going to send out that top line. That's been really effective in this period already.
Rebels controlling the puck off the draw. Here's Grice to the line for Smith. Shooting, blocked, deflected out front. Great play in front by Rubley, denying the opportunity for Flynn. Swift clears.
It's going to be an icing.
And it's an icing. It was checking to see if it had caught Regina's Daly, and it didn't.
And that's going to bring the Regina top line out, too. So top line on top line here.
Face off to the right of the Swift Current goal. Petford, a shot off the draw in. It's blocked. Allie Gerard moves that to Henderson. Hansen played her well. Now McNinch can't get to that puck, but intercepted it. Feeds it ahead for Swan. Metzger with her. Here's Metzger. Stuck on the outside. Schmidt stumbled. Back to Buffard. A wrister! Swan looking for the deflection. Didn't get enough of it. Here's McNinch. Back to Perlinger. Wrist shot. Blocked in front. Swan trying to bank that one in. And it comes again. The stick of Watane fresh off the bench to the net. Swan had a chance and it rolled off her stick. Buffard tried to hold it in. It's taken away by Petford.
She doesn't.
Buffard caught up to her as that's dumped deep.
Petford didn't have enough gas. She'd been out there for a minute and a half. She did well just to block it and try and get out.
Here's Thompson. Watane stopped at the line as she tried to make a move. And the puck backhanded into Swift Current territory. Rubley moves it to Keller. Keller hesitated a bit, skates back in her zone, and down the stretch we come. Final minute of play in the third period in a tie game. Keller, Thompson, Watane down the left wing to Thompson. Tried to chip it towards the net. That deflected high. And back come the Rebels. Sent out to the neutral zone. At center, dumped into Swift Current territory. Both teams making some changes. Hansen threw it up the wall, backhand, intercepted and shot to the net. Caught and held by Lehner off Petford's shot. 30.3 on the clock in the third. 2-2 game draw in Swift Current territory and a timeout called by Regina.
Well, that was interesting. The flurry in front that Swift had a couple of chances on.
Doesn't get any better than this. Two of the three best teams in the province doing battle in what has been an evenly fought season series and now a very good hockey game here this evening. And now a timeout with an offensive zone draw. 30 seconds to play. Swift Current has played a whale of a third period, but Regina's put on a little bit of pressure late. McNinch to take this face-off for Swift against Hayhurst. And it's jumped on by Metzger. Fed that ahead for Swan. Can't get by Nimigears, who spins a bit of their own blue line. Buffard up to Metzger. Taken the other way by Henderson. She drives wide. Centers. Good stick by Buffard to block that. Centered again. Went between some skates. Picked up by Metzger. And now McNinch tried to keep it pinned and couldn't. And we're going to kick off the final seconds of this third period. Swift Current, despite being shorthanded 3 times in that third, had the better of the chances, tied the game up, and we're headed to playoff overtime. Nothing quite like it.
Do they flood?
I believe they go to a brief overtime right away. I think 10 minutes?
Yeah.
And then they will require a flood if it goes beyond that. Well, this is an attempt to avoid dragging it on, essentially. To go right to it.
I mean, there's only been 4 goals in 60 minutes, so the potential that it has to be dragged on is certainly there.
I don't say drag on as in we're bored. More just get going right away. Players are still tired, more mistake prone. Avoid having to do the full flood, potentially. We'll take a quick break here as they get set for overtime. Just a quick one. 2-2 game. Overtime next on Amateur Sports TV.
At CM Engrave, we create more than just trophies, medals, and signs. We create time. Time for family. Time for growing your business. Time for the moments that make you, you. With more than 30 years experience for all your engraving needs.
We're ready for overtime. What a game it's been. 2 terrific teams, and we're off in the extra frame. Puck dumped ahead. Into Regina territory. McNinch working around, kept to the outside. Perlinger banked it back ahead for McNinch. Deflects to the corner. Hayhurst there. Plays it to the other side. Metzger after that. She tied the game. Now Hayhurst again. Up the wall. And that'll force Bouffard to back off. Dumped in by Petford. Perlinger takes it away. Spin move. Threw it to the line. No one there for Swift. Niemiger's shot blocked by McNinch. Now McNinch will bank it ahead. Metzger's got that as her line mates head off for a change.
That's a smart play by McNinch, just knowing that your winger would be over there to get it out and get it to her so that the whole team could, or the whole line could get a change.
Here's Thompson. Dumps that in. That'll be covered up. Face off inside the Regina zone as a result.
These two teams have played twice this season in overtime, and both those games went Swift Current's way. So,
driven towards the net by Rubley.
It's a hard shot.
Hard, low shot.
Yeah. And honestly, that's a really good save by Schlamp. Catch it, hold it, right?
That's what they want, too.
Yeah.
When we talk to Blake Vogt. Hard, low shots.
Normally, on a normal goaltender, you'd be getting a rebound off that, too. Schlamp's a top-flight goaltender in this league. And, I mean, just knowing how to play goal, obviously, obviously proved the difference there, and just catching that and deadening it instead of letting that massive rebound go.
Face off just outside the zone. Yeah, they did feel, though. I know we talked a bit to the Wildcats coaches. They were going to try to get pucks in her feet. I mean, that's just the nature of any goalie. But in particular, that's part of the strategy, I think. Battle for it in the corner.
Which makes sense a bit, I guess, right? We've seen her on her catcher hand here. It's a strong one, so.
Worked out to center. No further. We've got 8:05 to go in the first overtime as that's dumped in. Perlinger got a piece of it there to Rubley. Up the wall, and Watane clears it out. Swan trying to get to it. Swan nearly stole it away now, does, and whacks it wide of the net. Regina has some time. Played to center ice. Good stick there by Metzger, but deflects that into her own bench. And a neutral zone draw coming.
They are really working the benches. Both teams just trying to find the right matchups.
We've got 7:39 left in the first overtime.
Oh, I was surprised they let him.
Thompson drawing. Ooh, Rubley fanned on her pass. Now second try, got it to attain. Ahead for Thompson. Her pass behind Keller. Turned over, and Regina's got it. Intercepted by Thompson. Tried to work that to attain. Broken up by Nemagears. Now ahead. Pass across for Ashley Grice. Broken up. Held in by Petford. Tried to move that to Grice. Petford had it knocked away from her. Here's Watane. Down the left wing, 2-on-2. And nearly draws her own teammate in offside.
She delayed long enough that Keller got back out of the zone.
Kane takes it to the corner. Kicked away by Johns. Here's McNinch fresh off the bench. And turning away from her is Grice. McNinch, good pressure. Trying to take it away from Grice, who's tired at the end of her shift. Now Johns. Backhanded up the wall, and that'll get cleared. Oh, trying to spring. Hayhurst, and it didn't quite work. Metzger back in. Drop to McNinch, to the net, wide. Erlinger keeps that alive. Still swatting at it. Good cover by Metzger at the point. Slap shot, deflects, and that's an easy stick save by Schlamp.
I think it hit Perlinger way out by the point there, and so it gave Schlamp a ton of time to react to the deflection.
Here's Metzger again. Quick low shot, not much on it.
Pair of 12s running into each other there, and Hayhurst and Metzger right at the line after Metzger let that shot go.
And that'll be caught and held by Schlamp, but another draw deep inside Regina territory, and let's go right back to the second line.
I think both teams have been doing it, though, right? Like, nobody's gone to the third line yet, and maybe we don't see that until
the 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering at this point. And then even at that, I wonder how long the teams can go without it. I mean,
fatigue will pile up, but these teams don't play till Thursday. So empty the tank, as they say.
Right? Especially if you're Swift Current. You almost have to win this game today. Or, I mean, odds would favor it. You almost have to win it.
Here's Keller. Nice job. Centers it! And Watane can't get good contact.
It's tough.
Line. Bacchus shooting. Rebound. Watane can't pull the trigger there as it was hopping on her. And the loose puck played out to center. Bacchus dumps it back in. Quick line change for Swift. Back out comes Metzger, Swan, and McNinch. Pass deflected at center. There's Rubley with room. She'll skate it up down the right side. Drops to McNinch. Back for Rubley! And she tried to shoot that one. It hopped away from her and got cleared the length of the ice. But by a Wildcat, so that was a pass, I think, trying to get that back to the point. So no icing. Swan trying to clear. Here's Petford. Wrists it in from center. And play will keep moving, but it's turned over. Back to the line. Shot. Stopped. Rebound. Jumped on by Laner. As Smith's point shot gave her a little trouble. 4:40 to go in the first overtime.
I guess it was a bit risky to play that one.
I don't know if she was told by the official to move it.
But there was a Rebel player that was crashing on her, and that's where the puck ended up going. So, yeah, you totally could be right that maybe she was told it, but it wasn't the smart.
Keller gets loose off the faceoff. Watane with her. Oh, and Keller's pass just a little too far. Centered again. Keller on the doorstep, trying to bang that one in, and it's covered up by Slam. I don't think Watane had quite caught up to Keller there, and I think she was just trying to put some touch on that pass so Watane could catch up, and the pass had a little too much zip on it.
It did almost work coming back the other way, though, because Keller did go to the net, got the redirection off the center pass by Watane, and she got a couple whacks before there's a little bit of a scrum in front of the net.
Back now comes Niemigiers for Regina. Nice move across the middle and a great stick by Hansen. The crowd applauded that. Followed up. Here's a pass across the front of the net, attempted by Flynn. Broken up and cleared. Henderson's got it. She lost it to Thompson. Thompson away, gains the line. Over to Swan. Has room! Stop! Rebound! Thompson tried to backhand and didn't get anything on it. Back come the Rebels. Niemigiers again. Down the left wing side. She cuts behind the net. Taken away by Metzger after Buffard made a good play. Metzger trying to pass. Stolen. Takes it back again. Buffard up for McNinch. Ahead for Metzger. Swan with her. Dumped in by Metzger. Drop back to McNinch. McNinch tried to center it. She had a better route to go back to the point there. Instead, it's intercepted and turned the other way and dumped into Swift Current territory. Petford gets it. Worked it back to the line, but it hopped away from the intended target, Megan Hayhurst. Good play by McNinch in the neutral zone, but Petford follows up into the Swift zone. A hard, high shot blockered away by Lehner. Berlinger puts it up the wall. Kept alive. Now McNinch has got it. It's getting to be a long shift. She moves it to Keller, who's fresh. Over to Watain down the left wing. Watain crosses the middle. Watain makes a move to her backhand. And that's stopped and held by Peyton Schlamp.
It was kind of like the seas parted there for Watain as she ended up getting a chance on her backhand, but she cut all the way across and kind of found a seam, but having to cut across ended up leaving her on her backhand. However, Swift Current's certainly leading in the shot department in this overtime frame.
2:37 to go in the OT. Shot by Bacchus is blocked. Here comes Flynn. Nice move. Good backup there by Bacchus, as Flynn has gotten by Rubley. And Keller's got it, and she'll clear. Hops over the stick of Regina's Carpet. Not enough for an icing, though. Back to get it is Gottsler. Long pass up to center. Into the zone, down the right wing side. Grice dropped it off. Petford shot it wide. Swan trying to get to it. Held in at the line by Schmidt. Perlinger for Metzger. She couldn't get a stick on it. Back to the line. Shot. Redirected in front. Big time save by Lehner on a point blank chance for Allie Gerard. And that one's cleared out by Buffard. Metzger and Swan trying to get to it. Niemigier is on it first. She'll turn away. Moves it up the wall. Good pressure by the Wildcats, though. Force a turnover. Here's McNinch. Stick checked. Nice play by Grice. She'll clear it out. Perlinger took a swipe at that puck. Followed up by Niemigiers again. Into the zone, she cuts left. Niemigiers trying to drive the net. Held up by Buffard. McNinch turns it over, trying to go with a reversal, and Hayhurst almost cut back out front. McNinch on it again to Watain. Can't clear it. Now McNinch up for Swan. Down the stretch we come in the first overtime. Swan slaps it in off the blocker of Slam. Fresh bodies out for Swift now. Regina starts away. Pass across the middle. Deflects off a stick. Pushed ahead by Hansen. Into the zone. Thompson. And she lost it. Keller trying to stay with the puck on Daly. Puck's just at the Swift Current line. We've got 30 seconds left in the period. Referees want them to move it. It's stuck. And I think that's a neutral zone draw. 26.5 on the clock in the first OT. It looks like, very likely, it'll take a second overtime period. Unless someone's got some last-minute magic. McNinch a draw in. Buffard. Berlinger. 20 seconds. Berlinger off McNinch. Comes to Swan. Swan down the right side. And offside.
If you're Swift Current, you maybe don't want the intermission. I mean,
they're flying.
Like the ice has been tilted. especially in this last 10 minutes. I mean, I think Regina's had maybe 3 shots here in this 10 minutes, whereas Swift's up around almost double digits. So
Good face-off win, though, by Ali Gerard there for Regina. Erlinger to Metzger. 6 seconds left. Metzger got tied up a bit with the linesman, cleared it out. McNinch slaps it from center. That'll hop onto the goal, but we are done. Overtime number 1. And we've got more to come. This one ain't settled yet. A very entertaining first overtime period. Swift had the better of the chances. Regina, a couple of them late. But it remains 2-2. That's how close these two teams are. And they'll flood the ice and come back for more. It's playoff hockey, game 2. You're watching Swift Current Wildcats hockey on Amateur Sports TV.
Welcome to Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, your world-class academic and hockey training facility created to maximize each student's athletic and academic potential. Blackjack Stewart Arena, home of the Buffalo, is inside the 46,000 square foot complex, as well as a curling rink and other facilities. The students have a unique combination of successful, well-rounded education at Pilot Mountain Collegiate Institute and the professional hockey training in an encouraging community. The years of experience of on-ice coaching propel our students to the next level, both mentally and physically, in a professional environment.
We're ready for overtime. And the fans are getting restless here. Little glass shaking.
Yeah.
Overtime period number 2 coming up. And the Wildcats, you had said to me off air, David, Sean Mullen and David Zaman with you, in this 2-2 game, game 2, series 1-0 in Regina's favor, that if you're Swift, you almost want to just keep going. They're playing so well in the third period and the first overtime. Now this break has allowed Regina to regroup a little bit and reset.
Especially the top heavy group in Regina that, I mean, they lean on that top 6 so much, and those 4 or 5 forwards, it seems like they're on the ice the entire game. If one of them isn't out there, the other one is. But it seemed like that maybe started to get to them a bit there, as Swift had certainly tilted the ice, especially chances-wise. My goodness. Swift Current had a pile of chances in the late third and then in the overtime session. So,
and we're off in overtime number 2. Puck at center ice. Metzger tried to force it ahead. There's Nimigears, who opened the scoring in this one way back in the first period. Her pass deflected by Swan. To the line, held in by Bouffard. Sent towards the front. McNinch trying to dig for it, can't. At the line again, Bouffard shooting. Skip towards the net, and Schlamp didn't quite have it as Swan tried to get that rebound, and then Schlamp's able to cover it. 28 seconds in.
So I guess is this where we find out? Okay, this is where we find out. And Addison Urich will be the 7th forward to play in the overtime for the Wildcats. I wondered if they were going to start cycling the odd person in or how they were going to handle it.
Point shot attempt there by Bouffard is blocked. Hedford's got it. Puts it up the wall. Pinched by Perlinger. In her skates. And Perlinger is forced to take that out to the neutral zone. Her pass ahead of Metzger, who tied this game. Back behind her net with it now again is Nimigears. Laid to the Swift Current line. Oh, my. Oh, interference call against the captain, Ava Metzger. We didn't see one penalty in the first overtime. And now Regina, with their 6th power play of the game, Swift had 6 in the first half of the hockey game, not had one since. 4 straight for Regina, and they have not scored on any of them.
That was maybe not the song you wanted to hear if you're Swift Current either. Turn out the red light.
Puck put into the corner. A dangerous power play with a chance to win this game. Pass broken up and cleared the length of the ice. In the third period, Swift was very aggressive shorthanded and had actually the best chances on the Regina power play. Will they continue to play that way with the game completely on the line here as Henderson skates it in? Rubley behind the net, puts it up the wall. Nimigears keeps that alive. No, that got away from her. Out to center. A race for it. Chopped ahead. And Watane following up, trying to get to the net. Offside. Well, we're buffering a little bit here. Hopefully our internet gets under control.
It's been good for most of the game, but choppy at times as McNinch leans in and Petford ends up getting Hayhurst kicked out of the draw, being a little aggressive.
Anderson to take it against McNinch. Regina gains control of the puck. Here's Johns down the left wing side. Dumps that puck in. Hayhurst gets to it first. Bouffard trying to contain her. Minute to go in the Regina power play. At the line, Schmidt walks, shoots well wide. Ricochets to the side of the goal. And a great chance for Petford. At the line now, Lingard forced it out. And she's hooked up. And a penalty coming to Regina. Interference against John. And the crowd here's riled up.
Can't blame them. I mean, the last 4 have gone against Swift Current, so.
It'll be 4-on-4 hockey for the next 44 seconds. And then a minute and 16 seconds of Swift Current power play time.
A lot of ice out there.
And a couple of very skilled Regina players out there, too, you got to be cautious of, as Watain tried to take that to the net. Kind of bowled over top of Daly. And here's Henderson. She's got one in this game. Dumps the puck to the Swift Current line. Tried to follow it up. Clear it out. Nimiger has the lane in. Nimiger is shooting, and Lehner makes the save on that one. And we saw Nimiger go bar down earlier in this game, so you got to be wary of her. "16 seconds of 4-on-4 time before the Wildcats head to power play number 7.
Swift Current sending too many players out. They got to wait 16 more seconds for their 5th attacker.
Kicked out of the dot as a result.
What the?
Oh, they're going to make a D take it?
What?
Wow. Well, this is probably not going to go well. And it doesn't. Nimiger gets the puck off the draw. Over to the right side, a shot. And a good glove save made by Lehner. And even something that simple in overtime, when your forward's not allowed to take the face-off, leads to a scoring chance. You never know. It could decide a game.
And that was a good save by Lehner. I mean, there was traffic. She was able to catch the puck and hold on to it.
Another draw win by Regina.
If you're Swift Current, you're going to want to get the puck back here as quick as possible because you're going to
Here they go.
have the man advantage right now.
Oh, Watain shoves the official down, trying to get loose. McNinch taken to the ice. Followed up here by Keller. To the line. Metzger. Perlinger shooting! And a sneer by the glove of Peyton Slamp. With a minute left in the Wildcat power play. And a draw deep in Regina territory.
That's the ref got blown up kind of at the line there.
Right out of the box. Get out of my way. Swift controls the draw. Perlinger shooting. It hits Schmidt in front. Chance to clear for Nimigers. Up to Petford. Short-handed. She goes on the rush and dumps it to the corner. Back for it is Perlinger. Trying to avoid the pressure. Moves that up to Keller. Cross ice feed. McNinch ahead. Now to Watain. Gains the line. Cuts wide. Drops to McNinch. McNinch back to Perlinger. Shot is deflected. Keller knocked it down in the corner. Trying to get away from Nimigers. 25 seconds of power play time left. Here's Watain. Curls out. Watain shooting off the stick of Slamp and high.
Really good shot there from Watain.
10 seconds of power play time left for Swift. Dug loose. Perlinger. Lynn Perlinger, the overtime hero for Swift Current. And the Wildcats tie the series. Coming back from down 2-1 and a struggle in the second period. Swift Current ties this series at 1 on a wild Sunday night at Fairview West. We'll see you next Sunday for Game 4. As Game 3 is set for Thursday in Regina.
Maybe a bit of redemption for the Crossbar on the power play in the second period on this end right in front of us, maybe. I don't know. That was another perfect shot from her, though. It was in the exact corner of the top shelf. That was a really nice shot. Walking off the wall. Schlamp was in good position, too. But she just didn't get her catcher hand up in time. And Perlinger wow, she ripped that puck, and that's a huge win for the Wildcats. And their third overtime win of 4 wins over Regina this season. So I don't want to call them veterans at this point of the extra frame against Regina, but they've certainly solved the Rebels in this extra frame a flurry of times this year now.
Well, and we talked about this before the playoffs and early in the Battleford series. These teams don't have much for playoff experience. The last 2 years, the playoffs were canceled. So the playoff overtime experience is new for everybody. And the Wildcats, you have to give them huge credit. Down 2-1 after a second period where they didn't play their best hockey, came out with the most aggressive, hard skating, battle level that I've seen out of them all season.
Against
the third period and overtime.
And then against a team that is really good too, right? Like when they played Notre Dame here and beat them, that was more of a even. They kind of got the breaks, but
hard sort of on the wall battle.
Right?
Swift
Yeah.
was incredibly aggressive in the third period and overtime.
And they carried play for the majority of
They were
it.
fast, forced turnovers right in Regina's face, skilled. It was a tremendous performance as the Wildcats pull off an overtime win in double OT.
Kind of back against the wall too, right? You don't win here today, you're really in trouble series-wise.
Well, now it's a brand new series, a best of 3 that starts Thursday night in Regina, and we'll have Game 4 for you on Sunday back here at Fairview West in Swift. One of these 2 teams will have a chance to advance to the league final on Sunday after the Wildcats tie the series up on Caitlin Perlinger's double overtime winner. For David Zammit and Glenn back at our ASTV studios, I'm Sean Mullen. We'll talk to you a week from today for Game 4. Swift Current ties the series in overtime on Amateur Sports TV.